Our first storyteller is a Missoula transplant. He arrived in the West after fleeing the doldrums of Akron, Ohio. He became a park ranger in Yellowstone National Park, fell in love with the West, and decided he wanted to stay. He settled initially in Bozeman before moving to Missoula. He eventually found himself on the stage at the Badlander sharing a story at MissoulaMoth. Since then, he has taken the MissoulaMoth and transformed it into Tell Us Something, steering the ship for the past 4, almost 5 years. Please welcome to the stage, Marc Moss. The MC was supposed to do this. Tonight's theme is Illumination Revelation. Coming home from work, I turned the corner a block away from my house and I could already see the candles flickering in the windows. And I was concerned initially. Did someone leave candles burning and the house is on fire? I let myself in through the back door and I could smell all of the different vanilla and Christmas spice and cinnamon blends and all the different candles that my wife Michelle loved to buy at one of those big box stores. When I was 17, I started dating Michelle. I didn't believe anyone would ever love me. She was my first girlfriend. She was a sophomore in college, at a Christian college. I was a good Catholic boy. She was the first person I kissed. We'd go out on dates with her friends, and the hostess we could really only afford things like the Olive Garden. And we would go in, and the hostess would say, "Table for 4?" And her friends would say, "No, table for 3 with a booster chair." When I got married, my only responsibility that day was to go buy a pair of black shoelaces. My black shoes, the shoelaces were brown because the black ones had torn when I was tying them too tight because I was nervous at the rehearsal dinner. She said, "All you have to do is show up and say yes." I showed up. And because it was a nice, huge Catholic wedding, there were all these readings, and one of the people doing the readings was the person that I was in love with. I didn't love my wife when I married her. I married her because I thought the till death do us part thing would be really easy. I thought that I could live with her for 2 or 3 years until she died because she had been diagnosed with lupus, which at the time we thought was going to attack all of her organs, and they would turn on themselves and slowly eat her alive from the inside. We dated for 5 years before we got married, and it was supposed to be the thing to do. That's what you did in a Catholic household after you'd been dating for so long, and then you get married, and you have children, and you get a job. And I'm thinking about all these things as I walk through my kitchen. And I can hear our song playing. She picked it, not me. Remember Jefferson Airplane and how awesome they were. Well, and what happened to them? Jefferson Starship. And then Starship. And our song was Set the Night to Music. Like I said, she picked it, not me. that was on. I walked through the dining room. It was dark. I walked into the living room, and there were hundreds of candles lit all around on every convenient horizontal surface. It was like a Sarah McLachlan video or a police video. She was sitting on the floor. The house was immaculate. She was sitting in her wedding dress, and it was spread all behind her. And all around her wedding dress were many of our wedding gifts. A big crystal clock. That's heavy, and it'll leave a dent in the drywall if it's thrown. Luckily, we had plaster walls. We had an old house. All of our wedding photographs were also spread all around her. And I was remembering a couple of weeks before, or a couple of weeks after we had gotten married, one of the gals that I worked with at the grocery store, one of the cashiers, grabbed my wedding ring and said, "I'm mad at you for this." We used to go on long drives together. Nothing ever happened because I was a good Catholic boy. And I'm remembering this, and I'm wondering if she finally realized all those long drives I was taking weren't by myself. And she turned to me amidst the illumination of the candles and said, "You're leaving me, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes."